Over the past 2 weeks, people on the internet have unearthed troves of photos and video footage connecting various celebrities to the hip-hop mogul, Puffy. Big names ranging from Martha Stewart to Leonardo DiCaprio have all been photographed at Puffy's infamous parties, and some have previously hinted at witnessing wild behavior at such events. Those in Puffy's immediate circle, such as former proteges Usher and Justin Bieber, are under particularly intense scrutiny. Internet users recently resurfaced a 2016 Howard Stern interview in which Usher said very curious things took place at Puffy's home when he lived there. Afterwards, Usher's Twitter account briefly disappeared, leading to speculation that he was trying to hide something. His posts have since reappeared, and he denied scrubbing his account, blaming it on a hack. Most celebrities who have been publicly linked to Puffy have not issued a statement since his arrest, leading many to wonder who may have known what and when. Oh, and obviously Puffy has also denied all allegations against him. Many high-profile celebrities are scared to death to speak out against Puffy after he was thrown behind bars on charges recently, as a 2-decade-old clip resurfaced of the hip-hop mogul joking about locking women inside his wild parties. In the video, Puffy told Conan O'Brien in a 2002 interview that he hosts quinky-dinky parties with loads of beautiful women and booze. He said a lot of ladies drink water at parties, so if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave. Gotta keep them there. You need locks on the doors. And Puffy said that he also keeps the AC off and the room hot so people get comfortable and loose. Ooh. The I'll Be Missing You rapper may have been bragging about his now notorious freak-off parties, which prosecutors, because this is now a court case, said involved women who had been slipped something, who were forced to engage in prolonged and derogatory acts with big-name celebrities. And like I said before, a lot of the celebrities spotted at these degenerate parties over the past couple of decades have still not spoken up against the music mogul, likely out of fear for their own reputations. Celebrities are silent because they are scared to death of their brands being tanked by fans over ties to Puffy. And even worse, they fear if they cross him, things could end in disaster, at least according to Eric Schiffer, CEO of Reputation Management Consultants. This is what he said in a statement to news outlets. Some of the A-listers, by the way, include ex-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, former TV co-host Ashton Kutcher, longtime friend Naomi Campbell, fellow rapper Jay-Z. Another PR person, Doug Eldridge, said, "There's no shortage of reasons why celebs are remaining tight-lipped. First, the nature of these allegations are fairly gruesome, from intercourse-related crimes to slipping folks substances without their consent, and so forth and so on." Eldridge said the scope and scale of evidence that was collected during the federal raid included a lot of phones, a lot of computers, and now more than 50 individuals who are reportedly cooperating as witnesses. Third, the possible depth and reach of those who might be complicit and therefore compromised for having participated in Puffy's illicit parties, kind of staggering. So Puffy is currently facing a minimum of 15 years in prison, and did plead not guilty to the charges in federal court in Lower Manhattan. A judge ordered the Bad Boy Records founder be held without bail pending trial, and was denied when his lawyer tried to appeal the decision the day afterwards. Puffy actually previously suspected that his parties would raise eyebrows, and he said so in a 1999 interview with Entertainment Tonight. He said, "They're probably going to be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we want to have a good time. Whenever you bring up a different element into people's environment, things that broaden people's horizons, people get intimidated. It's a lot of people out there that feel intimidated by it." Another PR expert, Eddie the media trainer, also weighed in on why folks might be choosing to keep their mouths shut right now. Say you have a client who worked with Puffy, and the news of his arrest comes out. What's your game plan? What do you do first? You kind of have to look at it like a chess match. You're trying to think a few steps ahead. Like, okay, if I do this right now, what is the chessboard going to look like later? And what are my options going to be? One thing that's important to remember with this scenario, my sense is that we are in the first or second inning of something that is going to go on for a while, especially if this goes to trial. There's going to be discovery, and all sorts of information is going to come out. Sworn testimonies, victim statements. And so from a crisis strategy standpoint, you basically want to say, okay, how do I keep as many options as possible for as long as possible so I can have as much control as possible? Thinking about it strategically, what is the advantage to making a comment right now? I would say there is none, and your goal is to distance yourself as much as possible from the center of the controversy, especially if you weren't involved. Making a comment is more likely to just attract the kind of attention that you don't want. And when asked specifically at what point do you talk to the press or issue a statement, the answer is never, depending on who you are and depending on what your involvement is. In Ashton Kutcher's best case scenario, this is a story for the next week or whatever. He doesn't comment about it, it goes away. Nobody ever asks him about it again, and he never has to address it. It's in his best interest to be silent. One person who has come forward might provide some answers as to why others are choosing to stay mum. 50 Cent is not holding back about his longtime rival. The rapper and television producer addressed his relationship with Puffy in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter that was published recently. So 50 Cent, who worked in a lot of the same circles as Puffy back in the day, explained why he never attended the Bad Boy record founder's famous parties, where Puffy allegedly committed some of the heinous acts he's been accused of. He said, "I've been very vocal about not going to Puffy parties and doing SHIT like that. I've been staying out of that SHIT for years. It's just an uncomfortable energy connected to it." 50 Cent said, "He asked to take me shopping. I thought it was the weirdest SHIT in the world, because that might be something that a man says to a woman. And I'm just like, nah, I'm not effing with this weird energy or weird SHIT, coming off the way he was just moving. From that, I wasn't comfortable around him." 50 Cent specifically addressed the 2016 video that emerged earlier this year, the one that shows Puffy attacking his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a hotel hallway. He's like, okay, first he denied that it even happened, and then the tape comes out, so it means everything that N-word says is a lie. Well, that's what 50 said of Puffy. And by the way, Puffy has strongly denied the allegations in all of the suits against him. 50 Cent said when somebody watches that, if they have a daughter and they can imagine her being under those circumstances, that SHIT is crazy. Like, they let him get away with it, with all the influence and power you have. The person you're with is supposed to want to be a part of your life, not be forced. The Power producer and actor is also making a documentary about the allegations against Puffy, and after a bidding war, Netflix purchased the rights to the documentary back in May. 50 Cent said last year that the proceeds from the docuseries would go towards victims of SA. And when asked by The Hollywood Reporter what made him produce the documentary, 50 Cent said, "I'm the only one from hip-hop culture that's produced quality projects. We do have a lot of talent within our culture where the talent has developed a comfortability in front of the camera. So they're usually a part of it as an actor or driving force of why someone would watch the project, but not the behind-the-scenes production, producing the whole project. So there's a difference." And despite working, once again, very much adjacent to Puffy in the early 2000s, the indie club hitmaker clarified the two were never friends. He said it was mostly work. "I wouldn't call it a friendship because there wouldn't be disappointment between us if we didn't speak to each other." He said there were points where we worked together. Jennifer Lopez actually told him he should work with me, 50 Cent, as a songwriter in the beginning. And he said once he was around at the early stages, and he could have done my record deal at that point. And that happened in the year 2000. And 50 Cent said, following that, he was fired at by somebody outside of his grandmother's house after the label had signed him. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm just getting back to work, and Puffy would call me to write. I remember my son's mom would answer, and I didn't want to get on the phone, like, no. And she was like, 'What the F? We need money.' She's looking at me like, 'Why? Why don't you want to talk to him?' And 50 Cent went on like, 'I didn't ever party. I didn't hang out with him. Puffy is a business person. When people call him a producer, I see people that were taken advantage of, who produced things that he took from them. He got the credit. He's not a producer. He's been able to take advantage of the business and the creatives in it. 50 Cent doesn't have any interest in doing that. He says he falls under the creative, so he just didn't take to hanging out with that." 50 Cent was also asked why other celebrities aren't speaking up about Puffy like he is. And he was like, "Come on." He said some of them were involved at the parties and enjoyed themselves, so they don't know what the F is on the tape or what's not on tape, so they're not going to say anything because they might have had too much fun. And then you've got other people who look and go, "Well, that's not my business and I don't want to be in it." Then you've got a part of culture that says that's snitching or, stuff like that. And it's not uncomfortable for him to say that because, well, he's been saying it for many, many years. He's been telling us he doesn't mess with them. He doesn't like the way you're moving. He's like, this is all crazy. And he stated everybody else is not going to be as comfortable saying that as he is. And that's all for today. See ya.